When we paint our owls, we are going to do something a little bit different with our paintbrushes. Normally when you paint, you'll get some paint on your brush and you'll do long strokes like this, right? That make it look nice and smooth. But we want the texture on our owls to look fluffy, like fluffy little feathers. So we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're going to put a little bit of brush on the end, or a little bit of paint on our brush. Notice I'm not dipping the whole thing, right? There's still lots of part of my brush that doesn't have paint on it. You just need it on the end. And we are going to dot, 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 dot. You're just going to lightly touch the brush down and make these little dot textures. So when we do that, it makes it actually look fluffy like feathers. And notice I haven't had to get more paint yet. I'm still using all of that paint that was on it, and it's still showing up. So now it's kind of starting to look dry, like I need a little more paint here. It's not looking as white. So I'll get some more, but you can cover quite a bit of your owl without having to dip in more paint. Dot, 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 dot. You want to make sure you stay in the lines that you drew. So remember when we traced our fist and our fingers and our hand, you can see, maybe you can see my lines, yeah. You can see my oval here, woo. And I'm trying to keep all of my paint inside of the oval, right? I'm not gonna put any paint out here. Keep it all in the oval. Dot, 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 dot. One thing I wanted to remind you of, we do not ever want to smush Mr. Brush's hair, right? Because that's so sad, it makes his hair so sad. So you keep him right up on his tippy toes, if these were like his toes, doo, 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 and he's dancing like a little ballerina. La 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 la. I skipped ahead a little bit. I finished my first owl. Now I need to do the same thing with the second little body and the third little body. So again, we just dip and we dot, 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 dot. I'm gonna go ahead and skip forward. Once you finish your owls, there is one more fun step we can do. We're not going to use the brush side anymore. We're actually going to turn our brush around and use the little dot, this little circle part of it. So watch this. I'm going to dip it in the paint. Again, just barely. See how I only barely have some paint on there, right? You don't need to dip your entire brush in there until it touches the bottom, because that's just going to be too much paint that you don't need. But I have a little bit of paint here, and I'm gonna make some stars by just tap. Oh boy, that was a really big sad star. Looks like you want to hold your paper down and tap, 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 tap. Those look better. Those are tiny little stars. Sometimes we make mistakes, and that's okay. I don't have to start over or anything. This could just look like a shooting star. Wow, it looks so cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna tap, tap, tap. And you know what? You might have a small brush that makes small dots, or you might have a big brush that makes kind of big ones. If it's big ones, it's no big deal, because then it just looks like snowflakes, right? It could be snowy winter owls. And if you have a smaller brush, it might look like stars, and it's at nighttime. So you get to choose, or I guess you don't really get to choose. You get a brush, and it'll either look like snow or stars. Make sure you get it underneath the branch too, right? You want to get plenty of stars or snow down there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now we need to let this dry today. We can't add the eyes and the beaks yet because this white paint needs to dry. So here's what we're going to do to clean up. First, you need to take your brush and go put it in the paintbrush jacuzzi or the paintbrush hot tub. So let me show you what that sink is going to have its own little paintbrush hot tub. Right here you can see there's a little guy sitting in the hot tub. There's a paintbrush. So when you're finished painting, you're gonna bring your brush over and just plop it right into that hot tub. You don't have to rinse it or anything. Just put it right in there. Put away is our wet painting, right? Since it's wet, we can't just put it in our folders. We need to put it on the drying rack. So I'll walk it over and we're going to put it on the drying rack. Remember, you never want to put your paper on top of someone else's. Can you see one right here? Do not put your paper right on top of it. No! Sometimes the paint will dry to each other and your papers will get stuck, and then you'll have to tear them to fix them. So always make sure yours is not touching anybody else's. Got it? If you finish really early and you want something else to do, you can come over to the supply table and open up this first little blue drawer. There's paper for you. You can get out a piece of paper, some crayons, and you can draw anything you want.